Monsters and Mullets, Internet, my name is Peridiam, and I've read the preseason bios, I've listened to the preseason interviews, I've watched the 60-second preseason TikToks. Highly informative. Like dumping a bag of Skittles on the table, staring at the color-coded chaos, and asking myself, what does it mean? Here is my preseason analysis of the entire cast of Survivor 42. Let's start at the bottom. The player I have the least faith in to win this season, whether it be due to their starting tribe makeup, how well I think they'll gel with the rest of the cast, or just from what I've gleaned of them and the perceived skills they bring to the table. At the very bottom, number 18 is Jackson, a 48-year-old healthcare worker from Texas. A wise man once said,
Survivor ain't fun. Going on a cruise is fun. Going fishing is fun. Going to play golf fun. This ain't fun. I mean, look at me. Golly.
And I think there's a certain harshness to Survivor beyond just the elements, which demands a killer nature in you to excel. You need to get down and dirty, both literally and figuratively, and from what I've seen of Jackson, he seems like a really nice guy, sympathetic, he's very likable and has a lane from Island of the Idols upside, but he says that his biggest weakness is that he's too likable, and that's kind of a cop-out. Likability is a liability, and I just don't get the impression that he is cut out for this game. He feels old school, but more so Pagong than Toggy, and given that we're in Survivor 42 territory, very far removed from that season, I need a little more than just being a friendly face. At number 17, I have Romeo, a 37-year-old pageant coach from Los Angeles. Now, I liked some of what Romeo had to say in his bio, despite being at number 17. He is a huge fan of the show. He compares himself to Todd and Sandra. He's small in stature, but has some charisma. He's got confidence, but here's my problem. He is starting on the blue Ika tribe, and based on their early game dynamics, I fear that Romeo is fighting for his life to not be the first boot against one other player on his tribe. Romeo stands out, and his small stature may make him undervalued in the early game. He could definitely be overlooked. It's possible I'm doing that right now. I am bound to be wrong about the potential of some of these players, but I fear Romeo could be on the chopping block right away. Which I think is also why I'm going to be talking directly going into a segue of number 16, and that is Zach, a 22-year-old student from Florida who is also on the same blue Ika tribe as Romeo. And this is kind of the tragic part of having smaller tribes, is that I think Romeo and Zach on any given season could probably do pretty well, but I just feel like the dynamics that we're looking at on this blue tribe starting out could put them in hot water. Zach reminds me a lot of Adam Klein from season 33 and 40, and given Adam was quite a big character and Zach is equally a huge superfan, this could pose a problem. Zach has written essays about Survivor. He studied the application process to a science to get on Survivor. He's got a clear understanding of the outline of the game. Low threat level, keep shields around, be the best of the finalists. But just like Romeo, I fear he's going to be overlooked for being smaller in stature, and when you couple that with a younger age, Adam Klein was on a season where half the cast was from his generation. Unfortunately for Zach, Millennials versus Gen Z is not in the cards just yet. But between the both of them, I hope they prove me wrong. As far as number 15 goes, I swear I don't have a personal grudge against this color because I'm sticking with the blue tribe once more. Number 15 is Swati, a 19-year-old Ivy League student from California. I love her vibe. She is very relaxed and laid back. She's malleable, flexible, go with the flow. She wants to make big moves at the right time, make fake idols for others to find. She just wants to do everything. But then she also says that she is most comparable to Tony Vlachos in real life, and I'm feeling like I just got clotheslined. She says that she doesn't really know how she'll be perceived by others, which worries me, but she wants to be remembered, and this is my fear. I worry she is focusing more on the experience of being on the show than winning the game, which is fine. It's a dream come true. It's a dream I would love to experience, but she might miss the forest for the trees. Couple that with being younger, and I really wonder if she'll be able to garner the social capital to not just be like Tony outside the game, but inside the game as well. Number 14 is the first to fall from the Green Tribe. It is Daniel, a 30-year-old law clerk from Ohio. And here's the deal. Okay, I like Daniel. I think I was most captivated by Daniel's audio interview more than probably anyone else. He's just a huge super fan. I loved the moments he listed from Cambodia as some of his favorite moments in the show. They're pretty unique, and they spoke a lot about who Daniel is. He's a good talker, he's involved in politics, and it shows. He's a cancer survivor, and he carries himself with conviction. He's very self-aware, and I think that he could win a jury over if it came down to it. But therein lies the rub. I worry Daniel is an early game liability on his tribe. He's in his head a lot, more so than probably anyone on this cast, and I'm not sure how much watching Survivor will actually be necessary when you're out there. His bark may be stronger than his bite. We've certainly seen this before with superfans, and for that, I do have him on the lower end. And number 13, get ready y'all. I may have a hot take. I have Jenny, a 43-year-old creative director from New York, in this spot. Right away, Jenny tells us in her bio that she knows how to weld and build furniture out of metal. And all I could think about now is that if Wendell were on this season, I could see them tag teaming to create the ultimate survivor shelter. Jenny is low-key a leader in real life. She is described as a shark who acts, but her first impression is always of a nice lady. And I'll say it, Jenny is the person I am underestimating the most out of anyone in my ranking. My issue is that she sounds like she has something to prove to herself and the world about not being underestimated, which is great on paper, but I worry that she'll get too hot somewhere in the middle of the game and get snuffed for showing her shark fin too early. That said, she does say she has high emotional intelligence. You can't go wrong there, so we'll see. At number 12, I have Mariah, a 47-year-old stay-at-home mom from Michigan. Mariah is kind, empathetic, she's a softie, claims she's often referred to as a leader, but she doesn't always believe that she is one. She relates herself most to Taj from Survivor Tocantins, strong, independent, strategic. Not the biggest threat in the room, but comfortably in the middle, which is conveniently actually Mariah's strategy. Play the middle as best she can. Don't be the best, nor the worst. Given how friendly she is, will a killer instinct emerge? Will she embrace leading the game to her victory, or more so fade to the background and hope to get a visit from Lady Luck? I like Mariah, I love when players work the middle, but it's not an easy spot to be in, but hey, if she's anything like Taj, she's got my vote. Number 11 is staying on the Orange Tribe. It's going to be Omar, a 31-year-old veterinarian from Canada. Are we gonna see back-to-back Canadian winners? Omar is living the dream, being on Survivor. Regardless of his placement, he's just happy to be there. And from listening to him talk, I get the impression he gets the game pretty well. And what's more, he's one of the biggest hardcore online fans we have ever seen on the show. Sure, you get plenty of fans on Survivor, plenty of super fans on Survivor, but how many are tapped into the online fan base? That said, I don't have Omar higher on my list for a big reason. He's not a fan of Ozzy, and we may see a clash occur sooner than later with another player on his starting tribe who is a fan of Ozzy and wants to play a lot like him. Omar is quirky, he's got pet peeves for days, and he admits he has no survival skills to speak of. He hates bugs, heat, the whole shebang. Does he like sand? I kinda get Bradley vibes from Ghost Island. I see potential in Omar, but he needs to find a footing early and stick with it. Number 10, the top of the bottom half, is a player I have heard of before, actually a veteran to these social strategy streets, and that is Tori, a 25-year-old therapist from Oklahoma. Tori is a gamer. She knows herself well. I mean, she's a therapist. She knows how people perceive her. She wants to be authentic, create real connections. She is very talkative, loves to have long chats. And from my impression of her, everything she says seems to flow through the lens of psychoanalysis. She's like a walking psych book. She has a lot of thoughts on a lot of things, and she'll either be iced out or a social mastermind. I keep asking myself if she's relatable. She does kind of remind me of my sister, and she wants to play not by leading with emotions, but with a strategy. She has a strategy called the T game, an acronym where the E stands for extrapolate and exploit. Sounds good, Tori, but what about the rest? Regardless, I'm mixed, which means she lands right in the middle. Now let's get to the upper half, starting with number 9. Lydia, a 22-year-old waitress from Virginia. Lydia wants to enjoy herself out there. More than anything, she just wants to have a good time. She wants to be the little sister of the tribe. People will confide in her without realizing she's a threat to all of them. And depending on what info she gets, she will use it against others to send them packing. I get strong Victoria from Edge of Extinction vibes. She sounds cutthroat but cheerful, under the radar. She's not very outdoorsy by her own admission, but she's camped at music festivals. That's gotta count for something. That said, by far the biggest blindside to me of probably this entire video is that she says that she's going to play like a combination of Tom Westman, Suri, and Debbie. I love this answer. I also don't know what to make of it. Godspeed, Lydia. Number 8 goes to Drea, a 35-year-old fitness consultant from Texas. I have Drea pretty high because of her overall demeanor and how well I think that she's gonna fit in with this cast. She's sweet, empathetic, kind, and I think that she'll be able to fit in with just about any group thrown her way. She's also fit, she's in good shape, and she says that she wants to play the game like it's her second chance. Now, she does say that her pet peeve is dishonest people, a little naive of an answer. Thankfully, there's no dishonest people on Survivor. Drea gives me an old school mentality. She's a contributor, a leader, and drama-free. She wants a Dom and Wendell dynamic alliance, which I could see happen with another player on her tribe yet to be mentioned, so we'll see. Number 7 is a bit of a shock pick. It's Jonathan from the Orange Tribe. He's a 29-year-old beach service company owner from Alabama, and his voice kind of reminds me, and this is gonna be a random person, of Joel from Survivor Micronesia, kind of like a grug. Also, he hates shirts. Jonathan is absolutely going to be a camp provider, a tribe helper. He's easily the biggest guy with the most muscle, will be a huge asset for his tribe in challenges, and could potentially prevent them from going to tribal in those early days. If he's able to hone his social chops, I could easily see him reaching the merge. His mind is very much in the game. He's looking at it from a social angle, which is good, but he's also focusing on his challenge prowess too. And this is why I actually don't have him higher. He really wants to play all out, win every challenge, no holds barred, set records, and make a name for himself. No regrets, YOLO, you only lose once. I wonder if in the process he'll be setting himself up to be too big of a target down the line. Given the cast that he'll be situated with, I wouldn't hold my breath. And now we're really getting down to the nitty gritty. At number 6, I've got Hai, a 29-year-old data scientist from Georgia and Vietnam. Hai is very much a cerebral player. He looked up to Yule as a kid, and I personally love that. Yule just needs more people saying his name. Hai is thoughtful, patient, caring, and of everyone in the cast, I think I am most surprised by him. Or maybe I should say I will be the most surprised. Despite being all the way up at number 6, I didn't have a great read on his potential. I found him to be a bit of a mystery, but he seems self-aware, knows himself well enough to know his weaknesses, and I couldn't shake the feeling that he'll get underestimated by others in this cast. And because of that, I won't follow suit, and I'm gonna have him high. I think he'll be flexible, and despite what I just said, I would not be surprised if he does well. Top 5, baby. Number 5 is the last Blue Tribe member. It's Roxroy. Roxroy, a 44-year-old stay-at-home dad from New York. Although he did used to be an environmental scientist. He got on the show because he thought that he could do it better than the players he was watching in previous seasons. He's steadfast and decisive, desires to be loyal, but critical about where he places that loyalty. I could see him connecting with Drea, my second highest on this tribe, given Roxroy kind of reminds me of Dominic from Ghost Island. That said, and this also clotheslined me, Roxroy wants to be compared to Cochrane, which is an interesting pick. If Roxroy knows his weaknesses and can excel past them just like Cochrane, maybe it'll happen. My top 4 feel like the upper echelon of this cast in the preseason. I could realistically pick like any of them for number 1. I feel like I could justify any of them, but I'm gonna go with my gut and put Chanel at number 4. She is a 29-year-old executive recruiter from Connecticut. Chanel has the most cut and dry good answers from anyone in this cast. Like, I feel like you could take everything she says, apply it to pretty much any season, and you've got like a good top 4 pick. She feels like the stock number 1 pick based on her bio, which kind of psychs me out and causes her to drop. I know it shouldn't, and I'm going against my better judgment, but I just want to say she is pragmatic, she's practical, strongly desires to play well, comes across strategically oriented, but in like a mindful way, wants to be like Kim Spradlin and Tasha Fox. She hopes to be patient and not have everything be about her, be more reactive. She's also played in some online reality games, which tells me that she is a gamer. She admits that she's a number cruncher, so eat your heart out, Brad Culpepper. She also has a certificate of negotiation from Harvard. What an ace up her sleeve. Eat your heart out, Angelina. And number 3, my preseason bronze medalist goes to Lindsay, a 31-year-old dietitian from New Jersey. And just given that she's from New Jersey, I gotta put her in at least the top 3. I mean, look, this ranking is not a boot order, but in some way it may as well be. Lindsay is very athletic, she's in great shape, she loves high adrenaline activities such as filling out survivor bios. She's chatty, she's extroverted, she's very aware that she's chatty and extroverted. I got major Stephanie LaGrossa vibes from her, and go figure, she compares herself to Steph. Lindsay could burn too bright. She is headstrong, lots of confidence and self-assuredness, but at the same time, I love her energy. She wants to go with the flow, and most importantly, she doesn't want to be the main character. She just wants to be the sole survivor. I could see it happen. As far as my top two, I think either pick has what it takes. They are both bursting with personality, but given that we just saw Tony win another season, I'm gonna say my number two is Mike, a 58-year-old retired firefighter from, you guessed it, New Jersey. And yeah, Mike gives off big Tony energy. He compares himself to Tony. He's constantly thinking, high energy, talks fast, and he's fun to listen to. That said, he also compares himself to Ty from Co Wrong. Not that he's befriending chickens, but just that he has a big heart. He's emotional, he's intelligent, he's loud, and he talks a lot, but he's got Tony upside, something I don't usually say about people. He's got the Hoboken whisper. I think he'll serve as a shield for other players, but it could be to their detriment. He's a father of two, very loving. He's been a fan of the show since the very early days, since really the very beginning, gets that it's a game and will go with the group. More than anything, if he's comparing himself to both Ty and Tony, I expect Mike to find no less than two idols this season. Which leaves me with my number one pick of the preseason for Survivor 42, and that is Marianne, a 24-year-old seminary student from Canada. That's right, New Jersey may have ruled the seas a few years ago, but now that Canada's involved, all bets are off. Marianne has a lot of personality, remarkably high energy, and always has a smile on her face. Compares herself to V from Old School Survivor, Lauren Beck from New School, with a touch of Gabby from David vs. Goliath, and believe it or not, Debbie from Go Wrong. A handful of Debbie shoutouts in this cast, but not Debbie from Game Changers. Definitely not Debbie from Game Changers. Also Davey. More than anything though, Marianne is she's just fun. She's exuberant. She's joyful. She says she has one mouth, but two ears. She's a talker, a good talker, but an even better listener. She reads a lot of books, doesn't really follow celebrities or any of that stuff. She seems very level-headed and grounded, and I think she's gonna hit it off well with this cast. And for all of that and more, I have her at number one. And that is my preseason analysis of every player on the Survivor 42 cast. I've organized the Skittles, ranked them, and here we are. Does it make sense? Does any of this make sense if I got it all wrong? I want to turn to you. Who is your preseason pick to be the next sole survivor? Who's your money on? Let me know. A big thank you to my patrons for all your support, for being there for another season. I can't believe we're about to embark on another season of Survivor. And for all of you out there, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to eat the Skittles on your way out. I don't want to clean up your mess. And I will see you in the next one. Once I totally get everything wrong in this video and this ranking is just the boot order in reverse.
For our 42nd season, the greatest social experiment on television continues. How will they handle risky beware advantages? Crazy twist.
That is not an advantage.
No food.
Come on, you guys, grilled cheese. I want to try the papaya.
And a relentless pace that will push them to their limits.
Boom, Sonic the Hedgehog style.
It's Survivor 42.